doing our wiggle.
There is the professionalism you have come to expect from Dirty 20 Gaming and friends. Speaking of which, my name is Kevin. This is Dirty 20 Gaming, and these are my friends. These are the people that are going to help us play this wonderful game tonight, and I always like to start with them. I am so lucky I have 3 storytellers. 2 of them are active DMs, the other one I'm working on it. But we have 3 storytellers and me sitting here. Yes, you, Robin, you're next. We are going to play for you tonight the co-op version of Ironsworn by one Sean Tompkin. And the character sheet in Roll20 has been done by Ethan. How you can go over to the Ironsworn Discord and meet, and they have done an amazing job, including an update that went in just in the very last little while, including all the stuff from Delve. The new edition that just came out this week for Ironsworn. And I am here to tell you because some wonderful soul over at the Ironsworn Discord did gift me a digital copy of Delve, so that I can use it on this stream, and asked in return only that I mention, as I am now doing for the 3rd time tonight, the Discord for Ironsworn. Go join if this game interests you because of what you see here, or even if it interests you in spite of what you see here. Go over and see the Ironsworn Discord and find out all about them there. So with that, speaking of character sheets and Delve, it's on the sheet. So when for all of us, so tonight when you guys see stuff coming up in chat, it's because Ethan has done the amazing hard work and put it all in there. A quick tech note, last week, anybody who watched the video last week, it was all jittery and jerky in places video-wise. That's my fault. I have learned my lesson, and I'm like 97.6% sure I have fixed the problem, so that shouldn't happen anymore. With that,
to the failure track?
Yes, almost in my reality failure track, yes. We have, just for those of you who are familiar with Ironsworn and Delve, we have added the failure track, the concept of learning from your mistakes, and the threats we have added as well. Hello, and welcome. Nice to see you. Avoiding work. We'll do our best. We're just about to get started. Just getting through all the technical stuff at the beginning. So let's start like we did last week, because I really like that. Let's go around the table, and from each player's perspective, let's have them tell us what they experienced last week. Any volunteers to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. A tradition begins. That's twice.
If Gear had to tell this story from his perspective, which is how I'll do this, I'll say, every day I travel with these people, they surprise me a bit more. The young one always with her eyes on the sky. She seems to be made of iron, albeit very rusty on the outside. The others too. Some have a bit more rust than the others, but anyways. I spoke with the bushwalker, and it finally registered where those scars on her face came from. The man of iron. She's seen him. She may be able to help me find him and take him down. So now we go. We go to find her brother. And when we do, when I sniff him out, together, we'll find and we'll take down this man of iron.
All right. Anybody want to go next? Okay, Amala.
Had to unmute. Oh, I'm usually such a light sleeper, but man, last night it was like I was deep in those dreams that just reach out and grab you. And I'm like, and when I finally got up, it's like, okay, I'm awake. But once I finally got going on my morning routine, normally it's time to check in with the crows, set the augury for the day, tell me what I'm going to face. But the crows didn't want to do that. The crows wanted to sit down and have a talk. And they've never done that to me before. That was very strange. But yeah, we sat down and had a talk. Oh, yeah. So as a result of that, when we went back, we did go back to Kinheim. And I did face the Master Shaman, Lena. And I don't know, she knows so much. She's so experienced. But it's like she just doesn't see what's right in front of her. Well, I mean, literally when I was facing her, because Strongcaw was right there with me, and I actually lied to her. I was supposed to report back to her after we saw the headman and reported in on the result of it. And like Gear checked things as we were coming back, and it looks like stuff is starting to clear out, and it's gonna heal up, and that's all good. Yeah, but after that, after we talked to the headman, I basically gathered up these new friends of mine, and it's like, okay, we're going that way, and we're going that way, and I left. So I am now a masterless apprentice, and oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? But nope. I have vowed this. I have vowed this. I actually took that iron from Gear, and I'm gonna make this work. So that's what happened from my perspective. Oh yeah, and they were along too.
Yeah. And I can go next. I don't think Amala understands just how strong she really is. I was worried about her when she wouldn't wake up easily, when she seemed to be struggling with where her path was going to take her. But to just stand up and leave everything for 3 strangers that literally came out of nowhere for her, that's a bravery most can't even conceive of. And a bravery I wish I'd had a long time ago. And now Bill, Amala, and Gear are going to the hinterlands with me. They're going to help me find Kadal, and that's kind of incredible and unexpected, especially from Gear. Well, he seemed a bit begrudging from it.
That dickhead.
See previous 4 episode for explanations.
He seems like he's got good intentions, just a difficult way of showing it. But it seems that we know what attacked me is the same thing that took the spirit from his home. And I think we're going to start looking out and trying to figure out a way to stop it.
All right, which I guess leaves our Bill. This would probably be right after he stole the horse, Caradwin's horse, and he's standing out there and they're eating carrots out in the field, and he tickles out Face. For anybody who doesn't know, Face is his 2-foot-long giant cockroach friend.
I thought it was feet.
Feet. Wrong end. Wrong end. I was looking at me. I'm the face. He's the feet. Yes, feet. My my cockroach feet. Oh my God. Yeah, because I know him so well. Anyway, I tickle him out and he comes out on my shoulder and I look up at him. Oh, my little handsome friend, what have I got us into again, eh? Oh, that big fellow with the hooks on his arm. He attacked a wolf with nothing but his own self. And that one with the bow. Remind yourself never to piss her off, eh? There won't be nothing left of you, or me. And that shaman? All mystical powers and shit. Bill, you promised to teach her the shadows. What are you thinking? Oh, and now you're on your way with them, I guess. Off on somebody else's mission. That part's good then, not on mine. That's all right, that's all right. Right, feet, we'll leave that one. We're off Aram, Scarum across the countryside, we are. 3 heroes and us. Oh, feet, who'd have thought? Oh, here they come. And that's when you guys showed up, and that's when the exchange of iron took place. And Amala went from being the only one of us who didn't have a bit of iron to the one with the biggest, heaviest to bear piece of iron, which is all of 2 centimeters long and maybe half as wide. And with that, I think the first thing we're going to have to do tonight is undertake a journey.
I would say so.
Yeah, and I also
We're all
believe.
like 5 feet out of the furthest.
Yep, we have. This is
Hey,
this
we
is the
don't
first
know
time we've
where
gone
we're
out on
going.
our own, right? This isn't the
Yeah.
mission.
We
This
don't
is
know
the
where
first
we're
time we've
going
gone
or
out on our own.
anything.
This is
And,
that scene in Lord of the Rings where Amala stops and goes, "This is it. This is the farthest point I've ever been."
Yep.
Yep.
We're at the end of the Shire now. And I believe what we
Okay, we can
agreed
do
on
this.
is whose journey we're on does the rolling for the journey, I believe is how we were going to do that. So seeing as how we are headed southward
Caradwin.
on Caradwin's mission, why don't you start us off?
Yes. Undertake the journey.
Under the moves, yeah. And this is Undertake a Journey, which is an adventure move.
Can we aid her?
We set the rank as it's formidable because we're traveling to another region.
To an adjacent region, yep. So it's a formidable journey, which means for those that are watching who don't know, it's going to take us 10 progress events to get there. That's just to get there. That's before we even get to start playing on her quest for her brother. So,
And those of you that have never seen this game before, things get very complicated.
we do that. We do that a lot. So,
Well, that's
Whoopsie.
not necessarily built into the mechanics of the game.
So in
No.
episode,
Us.
in episode 27, when we finally get to where we're going,
yeah.
Look how much
You all-
we've done in 4 episodes, though.
it will be well established that Gear is an a-hole.
All right. That's already established. That will be
Yeah,
well
pretty much.
confirmed. It will be canonical.
Once we
so-
get there, we're going to
Hours.
have 15 more vows.
So for the first segment of your journey, you roll your
Strong
wits.
hit. What does that mean?
But and you get to add one to it because you were starting from a community with which you shared a bond. Amala,
But I
knows
leave.
what a-
But Amala is my bond, and I'm leaving with her.
and she's living. Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. You got a strong hit anyway. So
This is-
you reach a waypoint. Tell us what it is, and yeah, you have your choice. We don't use any supply, or we use a supply and you get a momentum. Your choice.
How are we doing on supply at the moment?
And we're
I
pretty
think we're
good
at
at
We're
4 on
full.
supply.
4.
Yeah.
We're at 4 on supply, so we're
Yeah.
doing okay. And it's
Okay.
what day did we establish it was?
Well, because we got back, I was assuming it was afternoon,
Yeah.
and so I
we're
think
gonna be camp before too long.
yeah. Well, I think the most logical waypoint would be we reach another circle or steading or some kind of small community out kind of outside Kinheim that, because if we're going to be traveling long distances, you guys need horses because we're not going to be able to get far.
So paint
that's
us a picture. What do we see?
So, or should I use the oracles?
You could do that too.
Do that to give your story a basis, and then build off of that.
Let's see.
And for anybody who hasn't seen this before, there are oracles built into the game, which have been built into the character sheet. Yay, Sean. Yay, Ethan. And it means you can do what you're about to see in the chat, which is create some words, essentially, to help you build along any story.
Yep, so I'm going to...
Isolated?
Isolated. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
We're coming up across a small settlement out quite a ways away from Kinheim, but not too far away. We wouldn't be able to get very far. And it's rather isolated. It's rather small. It's hidden kind of in a grove of trees on the other side of the valley. They probably don't trade very often. It doesn't look like they have nearly as much resources as Kinheim or other places where at least Caradwin has been.
Sure.
And there, are a few people milling about, and it's kind of clear as we walk up that they recognize that we're strangers, and a kind of a group of strangers maybe is a little weird if it's not a trading caravan or a group from their own place, and so they're kind of giving us the cautious eye as we enter.
Sure. And then, that's exactly what I was about to do. I was going to use the quick settlement name thing, but yeah. You rolled it, you name it based on a historical event.
What? A historical event. Remember what happened in history, all the first people and everything. So this I'm just pushing you in a direction. I'll let you.
A dark direction. What a surprise.
Lone Holm.
Anything dark?
Lone Home?
Holm. HOLM.
Okay.
Of course, there's not like a sign. It's
no, we just need something to call it. We don't even know what it's called yet. And to be clear, you're on horseback, right?
I would probably be walking.
But you have a horse, right? So it's just four people on a horse. Okay. So because it's evening, I'm assuming we first would probably see it by its lights, right? Like its torches and firelight?
Probably there would probably be some kind of low fence or some kind of barrier around marking the boundary of the initial settlement area.
Right.
And then some torches around, maybe like a campfire in the middle or something like that.
Because this area is all stunted trees, and this is this part of the world, right? That's it's
yeah. Because I believe we would still be in the Tempest Hills.
Oh yeah,
so.
I mean, yeah. One day we didn't get out. So yeah.
We
Speaking of which,
out.
Mark, make your appropriate ticks on your journey. One success.
Now this is
one progress. Sorry to use the correct terminology.
Isolated. Why is it isolated? Are they
well, we can find that out when we get there.
I guess we'll have to find out.
Is there anything visual? Is there anything visual that would tell you? Like if
when
it's
we
just
come up, are there palisades?
Yeah, around just a single homestead, or it would
no, it's nothing that
fortified.
It just seems kind of like they are a rather small group of people kind of staying rather isolated, probably of their own intentions or just because they haven't really branched out that far, or they've taken great pains to not show that they have reaches elsewhere.
Right. Okay.
I'm getting a few different vibes here. I can roll with this.
So you think we need to go into town for the evening, or can we pass by? Was there anything we needed?
Well, eventually we will have to have more than just brawn to rely on. We have a long journey ahead of us. We're heading to the hinterlands.
Well, if all you need is horses, miss, there's no need for the rest of you to go in.
Oh.
Doubt a settlement this small has enough to spare for us all.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's wise.
I can go and have a look. Me and Feet can go and have a look, and if there's one there, they'll have one less in the morning.
I don't think he means horses to spare. I think he means he's going to go in and take what they have.
That is exactly what I mean, sir. Me and Feet, we don't ask much. We just sort of take.
But these people might need them.
This isolated, they don't have a lot of resources to rely on, probably.
Well, we need them too, don't we? And I knows us. Oh no, if you don't want to know, it's all right. It's all right. We'll get him some other way. I didn't mean to offend.
It's just a strange philosophy you live on.
Not so much a philosophy, miss, as a survival guide. If I needs it, I takes it.
Very fair. But
not from my friends. You'll all be all right then.
Should we stop and see if they have any information on anything we're looking for? I know, Bill, you were looking for somebody.
If he's been there, miss, with only that many lights on, there won't be no lights on at all.
But if you go in, you could case the place, see what they truly have. If it comes down to it, he'll be a step ahead.
You want me to check it out and then not steal anything, sir?
We can always steal things later, if we need them.
Right.
But if we go in, they'll offer us hospitality. They'll offer us food.
They might.
Well, they will. I mean, any decent settlement would.
This one seems pretty closed off from the rest of the people.
Just because they're small and quiet doesn't mean they're not hospitable. It just means they prefer to be left alone from larger groups.
Well, don't take no offense, but frankly, you, and he points at Caradwin and Gear, you scare the shit out of anybody. You come walking out of the darkness into that little town like that. I think perhaps if we're going in, maybe myself and or Miss Amala should be the ones what do the talking.
And at this point, we're still close enough to the affected woodlands from Kinheim that we can always bring news.
That's true. We could say that anything that they may have been noticing wrong has been alleviated.
And will clear out on its own shortly.
I'll wait nearby in the woods then. See if I can catch any rabbits that wander by. And you whistle for me and I'll come.
We'll make sure that they don't shoot at you in the dark, sir.
Don't shoot at us in the dark either.
shoots a look over at Caradwin.
Oh, just gets the face.
Does the traditional Gear thing where he just turns and walks into the trees.
The forest, yeah.
Caradwin thinks about it for just a moment.
Quiver or an arrow comes about 3 centimeters out of the quiver, and then now I'm running low on arrows.
It's not worth wasting.
He's not worth the stone arrowhead, yeah. And so I guess we head into town, apparently.
Down one person.
Down the most rough person.
Do we want to completely randomly generate the first person we meet?
Do it.
Sure.
Let's see. Keep in mind they are secluded.
Oh, look at that.
Mirabelle,
a quiet adventurer that wants to find redemption. Does that fit with that backstory or what? Which makes that last choice easy too. Robin, I think you should play her.
Well, especially since Bill asked Karen would not be the face.
Yes, yeah. Well, that makes sense too. Yeah. But yes, it was your town name and your reason why it was called Lone Home, and now you get to play the quiet adventurer that wants to find redemption, who we first meet when we walk in. I like this.
I'm getting a very kind of Lost Boys feel from this village.
Peter Pan?
Yeah. Like, we're probably not going to roll a strong hit on our next progress track? Is that what you think?
Just watch, they're all children, and there's no adults anywhere.
That's why this is secluded, yeah.
Well, you tell us. So, just to be clear, Gear stayed out in the forest. Caradwyn, you sort of stayed out there as well? Or sort of at least held back?
Yeah. She'll hang back.
So in view, but not
the one walking
directly
up to
into town.
People.
Okay.
Not walking up to people, because she does realize that, like, in this setting, she's not necessarily.
Before Gear comes back, he's gonna resupply some stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll wait till a little later.
Yeah. Perfect. So, what they see walk into town is a young lady with a staff and a robe, and a much older man covered in bits of clothing and fur. So relatively unthreatening.
And are they walking up to her?
I would say that we're walking towards town, and I was just going to say before we get to the edge of the light, Bill would turn to Amala and say, "Perhaps it might be best if you do the talking, miss."
Me?
Well, it's your village we're coming from. I figured you could tell him that the shaman there sent us.
Oh, more lies.
Or whatever.
Yes, grandfather.
Oh.
Right then, and he shrivels up and starts to get a little limp going. Come along then, granddaughter. Now I have to do a voice with the accent. Holy shit. Okay.
No
one said you had to do the voice.
No, you're absolutely right. I chose to do a voice with the accent. Shit. Okay.
You've committed.
I'm done now. Yeah. Okay.
We're spending the next 30 episodes here.
So yeah, just as the light does, he sort of leans down and hobbles in.
For heaven's sakes.
Okay, so we go. Caradwyn is hanging back so she doesn't laugh too.
Okay, so we're walking up to the central, the central fire obvious community area, looking for who we see. So we expect someone will greet us.
Mm-hmm.
And this quiet-looking kind of small girl will look up. Oh, hi.
Hello. Which settlement is this? We've just come from Kenheim.
This is Lone Home.
Lone Home. Okay. I'm checking to make sure. Have you gotten word? But we looked. I'm sorry. I'm not very practiced at this. So we.
My name is Miradel.
Hi, I'm Amala.
Hi.
You're right. That's a much better start. So anyways, you may have noticed there have been some issues in the woods and in some of the water sources lately.
Oh, yes, how quiet it was.
Yeah, well, that's going to go back to normal.
It's been fixed?
It's been fixed, yes.
Oh, that's good. I know our headman said it was a curse.
It was a curse, but, well, more or less. It was sort of a cursed spirit thing, but anyways, it's been dealt with.
He said the omens were angry at us, and so we had to fix things.
And we did. He was right about that. He must know augury too.
I don't know.
But so we were coming to ask though about having now that that's dealt with, we're getting on to asking about some other travelers that might have been coming through in the past. Do you remember how long Caradwin said long ago her brother came through? Bill?
I just wanted to make sure. Are you asking Kevin or Bill?
Bill.
Bill, okay.
Why would I ask Kevin?
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a notes issue. He all shriveled up.
I don't think I'd ask Kevin for a notes issue.
Fair point. Who are? I don't know. Hey. He just turns around and wanders away like he's just lost. But what he's actually doing is trying to look into some of the huts, see what's going on.
I'm sorry about that. I don't remember how long ago Cadell came through. He's a young trader that would have come through about, well, I don't know, a couple months ago. Within the past couple months or so, he's about yay tall, kind of sandy brownish hair. One of the regular traders. I don't know if he regularly comes through here on his trade routes. I know he does come through Kinheim and his.
We don't get visitors much.
So, excellent. What visitors have you gotten in the past couple of months then?
You.
Okay, so you probably haven't seen any of the people that we are looking for.
No.
Okay.
But someone else might have.
And who might?
Well, we've got our headman, and then his wife. She knows a lot of things. And then,
don't they always? Yeah.
Then there's the healer. She might know things. She sometimes goes out into the woods, and she might have seen someone.
And I turned to Bill and
he seems lost.
He's got his head in a hut, and you hear "Stone the crows." He backs out. I don't know what I saw. We'll figure it out later.
Is he lost?
Probably. Could I speak to the headman's wife? I know at Kinheim, she's always the one who knows what's going on.
Yeah, she should be.
Well, actually, it's the blacksmith's wife who always knows what's going on. But
she should be. She's probably over at the main hut. I can take you there.
Yes, please. Thank you.
And she'll lead you over, and she'll be like, "And that's this person's house, and that's Joe's house, and she's rather young. She's probably a little bit younger than you all, so that's not funny.
This is kind of how I was describing things to Gear when he first arrived at Kinheim. So yeah, I get it.
I don't want to interrupt, but Bill just turns around and walks out of town to where it gives up all pretense of what he was doing and just turns around and walks straight back towards Caradwin.
And he saw something crazy.
Caradwin will watch. Bill, what's wrong? I thought you were going to go with Amala.
I was, and I will. I need a minute, miss. I was farting around in there, looking in, poking my head in. Got a great idea for Miss Amala. Smart girl, that one, smart girl. And I looked in there, and that little girl looked just like that other little girl, and I about shat myself, miss.
I'm not sure I follow. There's a girl in one of the huts that
in that one what I poked my head in, miss. And she looked exactly like the one that got killed, miss. The one I watched the night I made the first vow I ever made.
That's quite strange.
Now that I've had a minute, miss, it's probably just a light. It's probably, they all young ladies look the same when they're 5 or 6, don't they? That must be it, yeah. It must be. I should get back. I'm sure I can play it off. I'm being
Don't get into too much trouble, Bill.
That weren't half shitty, miss. I'm not lying. And he turns around and starts to shuffle quickly back into town, back in old man form again.
And Carradine will stay next to the exit, kind of looking out for gear, but kind of staying around just in case there's a need at any point. And then this scrolls. And that's that, and that's that.
You know, Loneholm is larger than it looks from the outside, isn't it? You don't have very many firelights showing out over the ridge.
Nope.
Well, let's see. We determined, what season did we determine this is?
The season of plot.
It is. I believe it was fall, isn't it? Because I mean, I don't want to say the 3 words that have been taken over by a television show, but kind of one of the things of Ironland is that the weather is consistently getting worse, right? Isn't that one of the things we decided? That this is a harsh place and it's getting even harsher. Like we're probably at the start of, in technical speak, we're kind of at the start of an ice age sort of an era, I think. Isn't that what or is that just me? That's probably just me.
Now it's happening though. Remember that. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of us are wearing furs, so it isn't 40 degrees Celsius outside, right? That's so like 120 for our Fahrenheit friends.
Did the issues with the water and the animals hurt your crops at all?
Oh yeah.
Have you had a good harvest?
No, it's been bad, and there's lots of animals missing. And the woods are really, really quiet, and the water turned really kind of murky. And the headman said it was because of all the death.
Said because what?
It was because of all the death.
All what death?
All the death.
Has there been a lot?
I mean, there's been some of the crops and the fish, and some of the birds have died, and then there was some and one of his sons died.
Oh, that's terrible.
Just gonna slide that one right in there.
That's terrible. Well, yeah, it is gonna be a tough winter. We're all gonna have to kind of band together and keep passing word between the circles and making sure we keep in touch so that we can help anybody that's in real trouble this winter.
You talked to other circles?
I haven't yet, though. We've I know word was sent around, but we only just brought back word that things were going to start to clear up. So we're just starting to send word out now. But I think, it's good that the river's clearing up, and it's good that the animals are going to come back. But yeah, I think we're all going to have to look out for each other this winter. And Amala is starting to feel really, really guilty. Because we're all going to have to stick together, and I'm not going to be there.
Yep. Yeah.
I want to travel too. I want to become an adventurer. Well, I mean, I am one, but not right now.
But not right now?
Not right now.
I bet you'd make a pretty good one.
Thank you.
Have you taken any adventures yet?
Well, I traveled to the edge of the woods, and that's where I saw the murky water. And then I came back and told the headman. And then I traveled north until I hit the ridge. And the ridge was really tall, and I didn't have any way to get down. So the headman told me I shouldn't go there, and I went back. He doesn't think I should do it.
If you kind of tug on some of the plants and you see which ones are strongly rooted, you can hold those to get ones that'll hold your weight, and you can use those to get up and down ridges.
Like a rope.
Mm-hmm.
That's really smart.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we used a little bit. There was, if you follow the river up far enough, there's a waterfall. And, we had to sort of scrabble up. And yes, there was kind of a switchbacky trail there, but we kind of had to scrabble up there. So
that sounds
it worked a treat. Yeah.
Have you seen any animals? Have they come back?
They're starting to come back. One gentleman with our that we were traveling with managed to catch some rabbits, and Caradwin, I don't remember what she caught now. But I know they had a competition, and they brought. So yeah, the animals are going to come back, and the water is coming back, and hopefully all the dead fish will. I'm kind of afraid of the fish for next season, because there aren't that many to come up and lay eggs to have baby fish to. It won't be like it's fun.
Me too.
Are we there yet? Not wanting to hurry us, but
I know. And she's kind of walking as she goes into the hut, and we saw a lot of snakes, and there were a few wolves. That's what.
Did you see any funny purple snakes?
Purple snakes?
You saw a purple snake that had goo, and it was really poisonous. And
well, there was some really, really small ones, and then there was some big ones, and they came into the huts a lot, and they don't usually do that. It was like they were hiding, and then they would kind of slither out, but sometimes they'd leave sticky goo with them. It was really weird, and that's when the headman said that I didn't, but I don't know about the others. The headman said that we shouldn't, and that it was part of the curse, and that we had to cleanse things.
You have a really smart headman.
He's the smartest.
He might well be. He's definitely smarter than our headman. Oh, but don't tell anybody I said that.
I won't.
Okay.
Oh.
Why wouldn't you say it, miss? It's all true.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Mirabelle.
Yes, you probably are.
Bill.
His name is Bill?
His name is Bill.
My name is Bill. Is there an adult here to talk to for us?
He looks really old.
That's because I am really old.
Your hearing's better than some of our old.
My sight's pretty good too, so don't try running away.
He's funny.
He is very funny.
About them adults, though, you got some of them here?
Yeah.
But
Shanda's right there.
We're gonna go talk to the headman's wife. I didn't
She's
catch
right
her name.
Shanda?
Shanda? Ah, hello.
Well, I guess there's only one person left to play this. Austin.
You want to give me some adjectives? Why am I always playing the woman that's in charge of the villages?
Oh, I spelt it wrong. That's horrible. But anxious. You are Macius Griff, an anxious warrior who wants to protect a person, played by either I or Robin. There you go.
Okay, so
random number generators are awesome.
Do you want me to play this one, or do you want to play this?
Oh,
one?
Go ahead. No, I'm in this scene already.
And so, her name's Shanda.
Shanda, Shenda.
Yeah, so Shanda Griff. Let's do that.
Shanda, and she stands probably 6'2". This is a big woman, and when she kind of is standing in the entrance to this hut and leaning into it, and as she hears the voice around, she kind of pulls the tent flap off of her head and she spins around to face all of you villagers, and you can see she has just one ponytail that runs down the side in front of her, and it's all pulled back, very functional, this really long black hair. And she stands up, kind of holding herself. Who? Mirabelle, come here quickly.
Yes?
And she kind of pushes you behind her. Who have you brought into the village? What have we told you about talking to strangers?
They look nice.
But
they said they helped with the trouble.
You mean the curses?
They helped with the curse.
They're the cause of the curses.
No, they said they fixed it.
Mirabelle, you can't go out and bring everybody you find into the village. That's not how this works.
Why not?
Because you don't know who these people are. Now, please, if you two will, explain yourselves.
Well, I'm from Kenheim, and I'm bringing word that the issue that caused all of the forest to be quiet and caused the taint in the river. That the cause has been fixed, and the forest and river should return to their normal state within a couple of moons.
Oh, really? And when was this fixed?
Yesterday.
And by whom?
Well,
Bill has dropped all pretense of being an old man, and he just says, "By us, ma'am. That competent-looking woman over there in the tree line. The two of us."
She kind of stands up and looks over
and
your
our
shoulder.
hunter.
This woman seems very, very trained.
Yep.
And so it only takes her about 3 seconds of kind of scanning before her eyes settle on Caradwin.
Yep.
And our hunter, who's out working on replenishing our stores, he's out hunting.
He's a bit rough around the edges, miss, so we left him in the trees for a bit.
You're talking different.
I was playing a game, miss. I was pretending.
See what I told you, Mirabelle? People are not always what they seem at first. You must be very careful.
But they seem nice and like they needed help.
This is true.
This lady's right, young lady. You shouldn't ought to listen to strangers without going and getting an adult first.
And
some of them are not as nice as this one, and I point to Amala.
And Mirabelle, you must be very careful because these have already shown a habit of not telling the entire truth. First with the man impersonating the elders, and second with the removal of this curse that plagues our people. What else are you lying about? And her eyes begin to kind of narrow.
It sounds to me as though the headman knows something of augury, or someone here in the circle knows something of augury. Consult your augury, and they'll tell you it's true.
I don't think
the auguries never lie.
No. My husband, you see, he speaks with bones. How would you know that?
Yeah, that would work. Oh, well, Mira commented that the headman said that that had said that the all of the effects and the taint and all was because of a curse and because of all the death, and that was completely correct, and I knew that was completely correct. But nobody who hadn't gone there wouldn't know it was completely correct unless they'd read the auguries, because the auguries would tell them.
All right, I'm gonna ask for an oracle roll here, guys. We'll do this as a group. What's the likelihood that whatever was plaguing this little settlement of people was caused by whatever happened in Kinheim, or what's the chances that it's
we're only a couple hours away from Kinheim. It's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty good bet that they were getting the effects of what was happening at Kinheim. The chances of there being something else on top of it.
I like your style, Robin.
At the risk of complicating things.
Yeah. So okay. Well, let's do the. What is
we'll say it's we'll say it's very likely, like 75% chance that
it's the same
this
thing
was caused by Kinheim.
Sure.
Yeah.
So roll on that table and yeah.
But it certainly matches up with what Amala knows. So. Amala is completely confident that it has been proved that someone in this circle, and I'm waiting for the roll to show up, that someone in this circle reads the auguries.
And Caradwin would have clocked the warrior woman.
The checkout. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you rolling that one for us, Austin?
Oh, I was waiting. I'm sitting here staring.
You came up with it. No, shit. No. You roll it. You came up with it.
You wanted to consult the oracle.
You did it. You did it.
75 and above, and we're screwed. Ready? 31. Okay.
It is the same
thing.
Okay.
And so what I'm seeing matches what we knew of from Kinheim. And,
and so Shenda, this big, almost she reminiscent of a shield maiden, right? This woman. And she goes, "You must forgive my suspicion. These people, they're mine to protect, you see. So if this is true, and you did remove the curse from these forests, you have our thanks."
Well, you're very welcome. And actually, that's nice to hear. That's more thanks than we got from my own headman at Kinheim. But that's
please,
a different story.
Don't think we won't be keeping an eye on you. You see,
oh yeah, that's fine.
We don't have the luxury of trusting people around here.
And actually, that was something. So yes, we're telling people that the taint has been fixed, but we also wanted to ask: have you had any other visitors in the last couple of moons? Because we're on the trail of, and we're also looking for a missing person and a person that's harming people and a person that is probably I don't know how you would describe the middleman. Of course, we haven't seen the middleman yet. But anyways, we've got various and sundry people that we are looking for. We can describe some of them.
Speaking of which, is it all right if we bring the lady with the bow and the horse and our other friend in?
As a show of good faith, you'll leave your weapons in the headman's hall.
Such as they are, miss, I'm sure. Well, I can't speak for the others, but such as they are, and I take out this little tiny brass dagger, plop it on the ground.
I don't have any weapons, but I mean my staff, I suppose. Sure, I can lay my staff down.
Well, it's well into the evening, so you'll break bread with us tonight. You'll tell us the story, and we'll put you down for the evening.
Thank you, and yes, of course. Thank you. That is very hospitable. Please. And we would like to ask of other visitors that you've had. We have a missing trader. We have a person who how would you describe the man you're following?
A right sick and twisted individual, miss. And I'd say quite a bit more if the young lady weren't here.
Yeah,
but if I might, and I turn around and because not Guy. Bill can do that, not Kevin or Guy. Bill can do the double finger whistle, so he does the blow the big whistle into the trees for gear.
You could have gone outside first for that.
Well, you guys are still out front of this.
And Carradine is now on alert because she thinks something went wrong.
and yeah, wave you in. Yeah.
But this woman Shenda will say, "Well, please hold your questions for now. In just a few moments, they're going to start the dance for the night. So, please gather your belongings and sit. Bring your allies if you can.
Is it about sunset too?
It's into the evening, and you can see that people are. I'm taking the wheel, guys.
Go for it. Go for it.
Do it.
You can see that people are around you. The few people, even the people that were watching you guys enter, have now begun building this kind of teepeed fire in the center of their circles, and they
I can do my light ritual.
This fire's big. And the Shenda continues. She says, "Well, as I'm sure Mirabelle has spouted off currently, my son is no longer here to lead the ritual, so my husband will be doing it. You can ask your questions of him when he's done, and afterwards we'll all eat. Please."
Do you think he would mind if I do my light ritual at the same time?
Afterwards, please.
Okay.
And please remain very quiet. The spirits around here, they prefer it silent. And she kind of ushers you guys over to the headman's house to lay down your weapons.
And Carradine will have come forward, not sure of the vibe that she's supposed to be getting. Like, is this danger? Is this?
Oh, I have.
It's okay.
Um,
and she'll have tied off Brom in front somewhere.
Yeah, Gear is going to make his supply roll really quick before we move on.
Absolutely. Right. That's nice and easy.
This is burp, burp. I'm not doing anything too crazy, so just wits. Okay.
Ooh, that was just barely. So what does that get you?
Take +2 supply, but suffer 1 momentum for each. So we'll go up to 5 supply, everybody, and I'll take 1.
We only needed 1.
And so Gear has... So Gear will arrive kind of behind Caradwin, carrying no rabbits, nothing really meaty, but lots of long, straight sticks and lots of very scrawny birds that have very strange rock-like injuries to their bodies. And
none have black feathers, do they? No black feathers, right?
No.
Okay.
What's the likelihood that Gear just...
It had better be very low.
One of them is a crow, the rest are like wild.
Just to be an ass, yeah. It was sickly.
They have a lot of fletching feathers and a lot of straight sticks. So most of the stuff that he brings in is very minimal meat, but lots of stuff to apply arrows and ammunition.
All right.
I'll start working on curses if there's a crow in there.
Yeah, big bear of a man carrying like 3 birds and a grip of sticks. The apex hunter.
The claws, the whole bit.
So I will just I'll make you guys a deal. I'll give like 3 or 4 sentences of the first part of this thing that's happening, and I will pass it off and we'll just create this scene. And so as all of you drop your weapons off into the headman's hut, you are surprised at the actual size of this thing. It's pretty decently sized, but when you set him down, this man walks past you, and he's very dark complexion, very minimal kind of clothing, and you can see the whites of his eyes are totally whited over, totally milky. And as he steps out, you can see he wears this long dangling necklace that goes all the way down to his lower stomach, that is just covered in all kinds of various bones with etchings on them. And as he pulls the tent flaps back and walks out, it's almost like as soon as he comes out of the tent, a wave of silence washes over the entirety of the circle. And directly out front of his the main entrance to his little hut is this huge roaring pyramid like teepee of fire. And as he steps out, the only sounds that can be heard, there are no words, but all the males of this circle begin to almost hum this really deep, resonant kind of sound that kind of spreads out into the surrounding woods. It's very clear that some kind of ritual is going on here. The only thing you know of which is they said something about a dance, and that this headman is supposed to lead it. And that's where I'll pass it off to somebody else who's gonna take the wheel. Who's going for it?
Someone else do a couple sentences and then I'll pick up.
I see Kevin over there.
I'm already doing a roll. I lean back against the hut. This is an opportunity. I cannot pass this up. I lean back against the wall of the hut and just shrug one shoulder very, very subtly, like not even that obvious. And feet comes out and runs down my back, behind my legs so nobody sees him, and along the base of the wall, and starts looking under like all the bedding in the corner and all. He's looking for stuff. He's casing the place. He is casing the joint, and does so with a weak hit. So that was gather information. So
casing the joint.
Oh, and I get a +1 to that actually, but it doesn't help. So the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger, and I get 1 momentum. Okay. Let me give myself my momentum while I think of what's gone horribly wrong here. Oh, okay. He comes scurrying back and runs up the back of my, like, I didn't tell him to. He's supposed to still be out casing the place, and he comes running, and he's just like tickling the back of my neck, which is panic. Like, get out, 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 get out. But that's all I know because I can't talk to him. So that was me.
Now, Karis.
Okay, yeah, I'm still working on which ritual it is.
Oh, this dance?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
That's why I'm playing the ritualist. I'm the one who can
she knows.
Oh.
I'm the one who can do this. Disease? No.
Oh, that's me. That's me rolling.
That's
okay. Oh dear.
I didn't know what he found, so I rolled.
Okay, so Amala watching the ritual and watching as you know, they start with percussion with the feet and it starts moving. And it starts moving with the men, and then the women start clapping, and the women start moving the other direction. And by listening carefully and sort of watching, you know, the feeling and watching what's happening, Amala realizes that this is a variant of a communion ritual, which she doesn't know a lot about, but it's one that is usually used to try and talk to the recently dead. However, this is clearly this is not, like she first thought, oh, well, maybe they're trying to talk to the headman's son, but it's like, no, he used to lead this ritual, they say. And she realized that this is one that is bringing the blessings of the ancestors for guidance, for protection, for the unity of the circle, and that it is part of their story and their identity. And so she gets very distracted by that as it builds up in power and in the rhythm. And then it starts to quiet down after maybe close to 20 minutes. It just sort of fades off into a stillness. It's just like holding the breath. And it's like everyone then sighs. And that ritual is over, and the day is done, and cloaked in traditions and the ancestors and all, they're ready for a peaceful night to strengthen them for the morrow. And Amala's just watching this, like, wow, fascinated at seeing this. And it's like, okay, how can I make use of this? And, as she's trying to feel a little bit about what's going on out. But it's also pretty clear that this is a heart thing. It's like, I don't know a lot about heart things. I've been exposed to some shadow things. I do a bunch of wit things. And it's like, okay, well, maybe I can sort of feel this out. And she gets a little distracted and off in her head. And she feels it when the ritual is at an end. But she's also kind of distracted and off in her thoughts, as Amala is wont to do.
Okay. And then at the end of it, as the fire sort of collapses in, is that when she does her own ritual?
Robin, do you want to get on this too?
Although Amala's caught up enough, it hasn't occurred to her to do her ritual.
Right.
Yet.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm picturing.
I kind of saw these all sort of like our intros kind of all happening at the same time. So
Yeah, I'm picturing the very end of this ritual as the headman is still standing there in front of the fire, and it's like the very end, the crescendo.
Yeah.
What happens? That's all you, Robin.
And he pauses for quite a time. It's hard to say if it feels like a long time because it's complete silence. It's like even the minimal animals that were around after, the taint knew that you be quiet. Even like, Caradon's horse, even though he's not really loud, but knew to you don't talk during this. Before it's almost like there's a temperature change and things kind of cool down a little bit around everybody with this kind of, and you're not sure if it's just your head putting two and two together or if it's actually happening, but it seems it's kind of this strange coincidence, at least for someone who's not believing in the rituals. Before the headman seems to take a few steps back from the fire, and a couple young, they look like apprentices of some kind. They're not necessarily shaman apprentices, but they're apprentices. Everyone knows what they look like. Kind of go to stand beside him, almost like as if they're helping hold him up to keep him from stumbling. And from just steadying him as he does a few more movements, he kind of, he has one hand on his necklace of bone and the other hand is kind of raised a little bit, and everybody turns and looks at him and is watching him and he makes a slight movement of his hand, and every man and woman in the circle starts to cheer. And it's this cacophonous sound as they cheer over seemingly something very good. The headman felt or saw or read. It's just kind of this, and then it kind of explodes into the full dance and celebration around this fire. It's less ritualistic and more of a there's good things.
Can I wrap it? Can I bring it all the way back around to Bill?
By all means.
Oh, because when that ends, the fire collapses, as they do. And there's kind of an outrush of sparks. And they swirl around. You don't really notice, because everybody cheers immediately, that they kind of swirl towards the headman's hut, almost in a pattern, like they're being blown or sucked or drawn or pushed. And they go right past Bill and Feet, who are crouched in the sand, because Feet has now come down and he's drawing Bill a picture to explain what's bad. And what he's drawn is a tiny little stick man. It looks like a stick man until you get close and you can see ribs. It's a skeleton. And then he's run around and shit all over it. And Bill looks confused for a second. He says, "Corrupted then, are they?" And then the shower of sparks passes behind him through the door, and Bill looks and sees him go underneath where Feet was when he came rushing back out. And then this pile of blankets and whatnot that's in the corner, almost like it settles a little bit. Like a tension that was under it collapses. And Bill looks over and looks back at Feet and he says, "So we're all right for another day then?" And Feet runs back inside underneath the blanket, runs back out and scratches out the skeleton on the ground, and Bill looks down and says, "So we're all right then? For one night. Well, get in, we should tell the others." And he gets him back up in his pack.
Ooh, danger.
And when he gets you guys, after everybody else is, the whatever they're doing, partying or going to bed, when he gets you guys alone, he says, there was there's some bones under there, and Feet says they don't want to stay dead. But whatever it was they done with that fire, kept it asleep for another day. Can you imagine having to do that every day to keep your ancestors from coming back?
Amala, is it something you know about?
Feet said it was all corrupted, diseased, he said. Wanting to come back and do harm, he said.
This thing wants to do harm.
I'm no shaman,
I think
miss.
I need to ask the crows.
I'm no shaman, miss, but if it were me and it were as simple as all that, I'd have thrown them bones long away, so I get the feeling that's not an option. And to be right honest, miss...
Well, we know the headman uses bones for augury.
To be right honest, miss...
We know these people are ancestor worshippers. Go ahead, Bill.
We don't need to make this our problem, miss. We're good, Feet assures me. We're good till morning now. And we can just get out in the morning and leave these fine folks alone with their bones. I tell you what, Gear, I won't even steal their horse if they had one. These folks got enough trouble without me stealing their livestock.
One way or the other. If these people have a spirit on their hands, it's not natural.
Maybe that's why they have isolated themselves.
Maybe they didn't choose to be isolated. Did you see what they did? How many people would stick around after that?
No. But maybe they stay together to keep whatever it is from leaking out. What if it's something that is much bigger than we can even imagine?
Oh no, I just had an awful idea. That's not good at all.
I'm going to quickly interject here. This is what we did with a strong hit on a journey. This is what we did with a complete success.
That's right. Well, that just
see. I told you this game gets complicated.
That just made it so we didn't fall into a ditch on the way here. What? It wasn't going to be sunshine and roses.
No, we don't do that.
This is why I love this game, because it's so dark. I just had the worst idea. Okay.
Okay, tell us.
Nope, not until tonight. Sorry. So
okay.
Gear will say.
Surprise.
Gear will say.
So we do want to ask about. We've been invited by Shonda, the headman's wife.
The warrior woman.
Mm-hmm.
She casts quite a large shadow standing next to that fire. She's dangerous. Be careful.
You cast a rather long shadow as well. Here.
Anything effective is dangerous. That headman is dangerous.
Maybe.
They didn't have very many children here.
No,
I was
they didn't.
watching the ritual, and either they don't participate, but there were a few. So I wonder if that's also a factor. You said before that his son had recently passed.
And we don't know how old he was yet.
And the girl that took you to the headman's wife, she was rather young.
And you said the headman, he reads the bones. That's what you said, right? How does one read bones?
Well, it's I mean, it's an augury, like I do with the crows, but it's sort of talking to different people than I talk to, but it's the same thing basically.
But I've seen you talk to the crows. Crows travel. The crows see things. Bones don't travel.
Them ones under the blanket would if they didn't do that dance every night.
But the bones are just a way to talk to the spirits. The spirits travel. The spirits communicate to me through the crows.
So do we stay here for the night then? Leave first thing in the morning.
That seems like the safest thing to me.
Very well. Ask
bright
your
and
questions.
early, though. Bright and early.
Ask your questions to the people that reside here. And Gear will sit down with his sticks and his feathers and begin making some fletchings for, possibly for himself. I'll probably hold on to him for a
Archer,
little
what
while.
makes you think these are for you? Oh, no, no.
He's not going to help Carradine.
Oh, I make really good ones too, but not for you.
Pinky.
I can't help it.
He's pretty good at making fletchings.
Yeah.
It's one of the skills he was taught from the woodwalkers, but
sure. Yeah, even if he's not an archer, he's somehow. So.
Yeah, it's like
you could probably handle a bow. Possibly.
a little training. You got some people here to train you.
You're difficult with those claws. Hard to.
But would he want to ask someone for help learning how to use
Oh,
it?
no.
Could you teach me? No.
Nope. Never gonna happen.
I can't wait for that scene at some point in the future. We're in a large town somewhere and we become separated and we walk around the corner and there's Gear with this being trained by some local with a bow. We catch him.
Throws it away.
He would never admit that these fletchings are for Carradine either.
No, of course not.
Absolutely
but he
not.
did notice, since he is very observant, that she is running low on arrows.
Yep.
It's like, but yeah, thinking about the crows and talking to the crows, like, oh, it's evening. I need to go do my evening ritual. And I look over, and fortunately, it's already past sunset.
Yep.
But there's still enough embers and there's still enough fire around their central fire that I'm going to go ahead and use their central fire. Oh, deep breath and center and think about my own connections to the spirits and just bring in the light. And bring in the light. And let's see, plus wits. You'd think I would know this by now.
Oh dear.
Oh.
So, would you like to burn momentum and turn that into a weak hit? Or do you want to go with the miss? Especially now because misses count on the failure track.
This is
I
have an awful story to tell you guys.
I take the miss and I've got no light.
You get no light?
That's oddly appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It's like
the magic's all gone out of that fire.
Or something won't let you take the light.
I'm unsettled. There's
Yeah.
something wrong. I've got more to ask the crows in the morning.
Been dabbling too much in shadow lately.
Do you, does it, I don't have that particular one up. Is there a momentum penalty for failure? Do you lose a momentum?
No, it only tells me what to do on a strong hit or a weak hit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a light track that she can use, so I don't.
Right, that's what it. Right, that doesn't recharge.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But I lose what I had from the prior day. So
yes. Yeah. So you are lightless. Ooh.
Which I
first day away from home.
Again,
first
I could try
time.
it again, but I'm. Let's see, progress. So I add one to my failure track.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So your first night away from home, and it
I'm
doesn't
really
work.
Unsettled.
Oh, time to go back to Kinheim.
And there's some more stuff, and there's stuff going on that's deeper than, I mean, it seemed really, what they did was very powerful and very potent.
Well, and they involved the community. Weena never did that.
That was a pretty cool story, though, guys. That was pretty fucking A1.
Yeah, this leads to a technical question for me. Does this count as a step towards your new vow?
Experiencing
yet.
the rituals.
All of this, like the whole last 24 hours, do you get one mark?
I would say this is something you'd never experience in Kinheim, so this is a step towards becoming your own shaman.
And failing and not running home. Well, we'll leave you with to think of that. You can think of that.
I think yeah. Let's see what the crows say in the morning.
There's an even better idea.
Here we are. I believe it's our first time to roll to Sojourn.
Yep.
Because we have the people.
Yep.
And do we all do it, or just only one of us?
I think
it's you, and it says you and your allies, so only one person rolls. So we'll have we're on Robin's thing. So Robin rolls. Robin's adventure. Who's this Robin person they keep talking about? Caradwin.
Yeah, because it's plus heart, and I've got a
Yep, plus heart.
I don't.
Although this place
which makes sense. Gears, can I stay here? Yeah, you can sleep by the fire with the other dogs, dude.
Ooh, only a weak hit.
A weak hit.
A weak hit.
I would have thought there was more heart going around here because of their ritual.
Well, maybe they, maybe it's this makes sense too, because they're going to be a little sort of, they're standoffish, right? They've been like that since we got here. So
yeah.
Let's see.
On a weak hit, choose one.
Choose and recover actions.
So clear condition, recover, or provide aid.
And I believe I still have 1 point of spiritual health from last week that I had to clear up. So that's fixed now.
Yeah, I do too.
So yeah, I think I'm going to. What's my spirit? My spirit's low. My spirit's only at 2.
Yeah, your spirit got booted because of your Forsaken vow, right?
But
I'm gonna take the 2 momentum and just leave my spirit kind of with that hit on it. I feel like I'm gonna need the momentum. No spoilers though.
There's some really interesting mechanics in this game. If you don't get involved, you just don't get any momentum, and you have to go with your dice rolls.
Yeah, so the more you get involved, the more you tell the story, the more you
the more momentum you get, and the more power you get, control.
Yeah.
Really
Kevin, when we're looking at the wording on a move, rather than doing it on your character sheet, you might want to do it in the journal, from the journal.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, because they wouldn't see it there. Do it somewhere where we need a mechanism to display it
to show them. That's a good point. Yeah.
We're looking at Sojourn, so having the Sojourn thing up on the screen would be useful. We'll need to find a mechanism.
That would be. I can do that. I'll have to change the overlay. I'll have to add a window.
Yeah.
That shows. Yeah. Okay. I can do that. No worries. Good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I actually like Gear's idea. I'm going to take the momentum because I only have the 1 to spare it. So.
Yep.
And it's her brother, so it's a really big deal. So I don't think
that's only like 20% stressed out of the whole thing. I run at least like a 60 at all times. So
95. I'm at a 95 constantly. So this is nothing.
I had 2 exams today, so we're up there and like debilitating.
That's my secret. I'm always stressed.
It's my secret, Cap.
When I get really stressed, I'm a green screen.
Yeah.
All right. So we sojourn, each of us with our own thoughts and emotions and sleep or lack of sleep, as the case may be. And
now, Gear is very uneasy in this town. He's spending a lot of his time kind of doing his fletchings, but really keeping his eyes up around.
Yeah.
Look down to tie a couple knots and look around.
Yeah.
Something very, very unnatural about this place.
Yeah, Caradwin has been keeping an eye out because she did notice the lack of like young children, and just kind of the she's not used to the rituals, especially not ones those that big. And so it's just kind of like she's just keeping an eye because she knows what it's like coming from a small community, and so it just seems off. There's something that doesn't feel right. So I'm actually going to take the gather information move.
Okay. Yeah, you could both do that, actually. For sure.
And that's a strong hit.
Strong hit.
Gather information.
So you discover something you use.
Are we doing that as part of the evening watch, the night watch?
I don't know if a night watch is necessary, but I know that.
But I still like the idea. Yeah.
I am absolutely. And that's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for a weak hit so I could complicate this whole thing.
Of course you are.
I'm gonna wait. I will tell my story during the night.
Okay. So yeah, does that make sense, Caradwin? That evening you're looking around. On a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Tell us what happens and take 2 more momentum.
I took momentum and
this is perfect because it's on your vow, right? So, oh, okay.
Oh yes, yes.
The dice like you. Together. I think, and this can work in tandem with Gear because I'm imagining that they are both kind of like.
I think we might be on the same page, actually.
Yeah,
I have faith.
But Caradwin's just watching the people. She's kind of used to kind of watching behaviors and kind of getting a feel for the people, especially since, she was kind of cautious of the warrior woman, and there seems to be a mixture of really strong individuals and weaker ones. Like the headman seems to be a little bit weaker physically, like he just is smaller than his wife. And so there's just this disparity, and that's not too off-putting, but there's a pattern in it. Like there's more than one instance of that. And so she's been watching that, kind of watching how they move and kind of watching how they react, and especially when they think they're not being watched by strangers, and how often the young people will be like helping people like the headman around. They're kind of leading them around, while people like Shenda are that overprotective mode and keeping a firm shield away from especially us, even though there's a sort of trust there's still that you stay over here and let us do our thing. And she does notice that when the fire is starting to, like, the fire never goes out because that's not how it works, but as it is fading, she notices some shadows that wisp, kind of like movement inside the headman's hut and a few of the other ones surrounding the ones closest to the fire. They seem wrong. They move wrong. And as she watches, it's like there's more people in there than she saw enter, or something else is going on. And I think maybe at that point, when she notices that, she might nudge Gear. Because I'm imagining Gear and Caradwin are sitting awake while Amala and Bill are sleeping. I imagine us two anxious folk are staying awake.
Yeah.
Gear is literally just reclined against something with his eyes wide open. He's sleeping.
Yeah. So on a weak hit, the information complicates your quest or introduces a new danger. So tell us what happened and take one moment.
Take it away.
And so, oh God, I'm so sorry. This is happening.
Don't apologize.
Gear kind of picks up on this. If he had ears that would perk up, they definitely would. He would be very uneasy at this. But still, this is teetering in his uncomfort zone, so he's still trying to get his rest. And as the night kind of goes on and the people begin to disperse back into their huts, Gear, Caradwin, Amala, and Bill haven't been given a shelter per se to sleep under. It's more of like a lean-to.
Yeah.
And so it's still open into this area, and so they can see out into this circle. And the fire is all but out. And this is very, very strange. It kind of puts everybody uneasy because fire is life in this kind of lifestyle, and they let it go completely out. Now, as Caradwin and Gear begin to kind of cycle in and out of sleep, kind of alternating watches, there's a moment where Gear snaps out of sleep, not bolt upright, but eyes wide open, because the temperature in this circle drops noticeably. You can see your breath out in front of you. And he just reaches over very cautiously to touch Caradwin on the arm, just enough to rouse her. Because there's one figure walking through the center of the circle. And Gear has his hand clamped on Caradwin's arm, say in a "don't move, just watch." And as this figure, this small female, almost skips across the circle to the front of the headman's hut, there's a very large woman that's standing there blocking the doorway. And a conversation happens over the next minute or so, where we're too far away to hear, but clearly they're talking about something. And this young woman, this young girl, her excitement is clearly building. And as the large woman closes the tent curtain and the woman, the small girl, is standing outside, a moment or two passes before the tent curtain opens again, and out steps upright, almost as if it were alive again, a collection of bones. Standing. I'll give you two more sentences.
Yep, I'm done.
And then I'll let you take over. This grotesque looking skeleton, standing fully upright, creaking as its weight shifts back and forth. The young girl, Mirabelle, looks up to it with a big smile on her face, throws her arms around it in a big hug. And the last thing they do before I hand it off to you is they clasp and begin to hold hands.
Wonderful, because all I was going to say is, and that seems like a good place to take a break. And then it got better. So now this seems like an even better place to take a break.
Oh,
wow.
Oh, this is getting real supernatural, guys.
Oh, and for anybody that is watching this here or later on YouTube, this is what we did with a strong hit. This is what we did with as successful as you can be.
We didn't end up in a ditch.
We're not dead. We had a really cool experience, and we are on our way from here. That was amazing.
Pretty gnarly.
That's the first village outside where we started. So here we go. And with that, we will take about a 15-minute break. So we will be back in 15 minutes or so, and we will see what happens on our first full day away from the circle of Kinheim. Back shortly. And that should be us back. There we are. Look at us back. We have returned successfully, which is more than can be said for some of the people in this village. Ba-dum-bum. Those that missed a bit before the break, go watch the VOD after. I don't want to break up the story any longer. Let's get back into the middle of the night. Gears watch. He has just witnessed what looked at first to be a terrifying but turned into a apparently heartwarming family reunion, as the young lady who introduced us to this town is now hugging in a familial fashion with the reanimated bones that came out of the headman's hut, which we knew from Bill's previous experience would have come forth and eaten or destroyed the village to the best of its ability if the ritual hadn't taken place earlier this evening. So, when you see that, what do you do? He said, sounding like a dungeon master and immediately regretting it.
Well...
Oh, and Caradwin was awake for that too, right?
Yep, yeah, the two of you were up. I think we agreed, Amala, was like you had already crashed too, right? Sorry.
Yeah, this is not in Gear's wheelhouse. This is kind of
It's not in her.
I'm thinking we sit this one out, actually. I literally almost died to the last one, so I'm gonna say negative on this one. Gear's gonna hold on to Caradwin, and we're gonna ride this out. At least that's what Gear's gonna do.
We're gonna Caradwin has no idea what this is or could be, or what the consequences of it could be. So
sure.
They're probably just gonna sit in the shadows and watch to make sure nothing horrible happens.
Oh, okay.
Are you going to wake Amala for a watch?
No.
Or are the two of you just...
Nope. Not gonna happen.
Hey.
Yeah.
Amala has a dream.
I'll bet.
Ooh.
So tell us this dream.
In her sleep, without her accustomed light, and in an unsettling place, she's not as centered as usual and not as tethered as usual. And her spirit goes walking in the shadows. I'm not going to burn momentum in her sleep. Okay, on a weak hit.
Sounds like quitter talk.
Yeah.
Shush.
Okay, on a weak hit, the shadows try to lead me astray. So, the fire is out, which is really unusual for an Iron Age settlement. And, it had no light for her, no light for itself. The shadows are here and are creeping in, and the shadows pull Amala out. And she goes peeking around, and it looks so different, but it's not as scary as it was in the mushroom forest. But she wanders off a little bit, sort of trying to test the ground and test her range and test the tether. And she finds there's this barrier around around the circle of Lone Home. And let's see, face danger. Danger. Ah. Face danger. Well, this has got to be a shadow danger.
Through your dream, if I can just step in for a split second, you remember Bill promise to help you in the shadows. And I just did a shadow roll to secure advantage, and I got a weak hit, so you get +1 momentum.
Ooh, thank you.
Think like Bill. Run if you see something scary.
Okay.
Get a cockroach.
So on a weak hit, I succeed but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. And the first one is delayed, lose an advantage, or face a new danger, suffer 1 momentum.
I mean, that's our MO.
No, so okay, so finding the barrier and trying to find sort of the edges of the barrier and following that on, and I don't know anything about shadow really beyond the brief terrifying glimpse I saw, and I continue to wander off and follow the barrier, and I become very afraid that I don't know my way back. And it doesn't look like it did when we saw the circle, when we came to it. And it doesn't look like it. And I thought I was following the barrier, but I look back and I don't recognize it. And I have, let's see, endure stress. Okay, this is quite a dream.
There's no chance
really
you've got
bad.
9 momentum, eh?
That's really bad. Those are high numbers too.
I have 7 momentum. Okay, so endure stress. Where did the endure stress go?
So this is a miss. This is where it starts, but it's got to get worse than this. You suffer -1 momentum. If you are at 0 spirit, you mark it as shaken or corrupted, or you roll on the oracle. But you double that because of it. It's a complication, and it's a double complication. So, what horrible thing happens?
Just remember, Amala is tethered to Caradon, who is awake.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that gives an advantage or anything.
True. But... Actually, it would. I should have rolled that with +1.
With +1, that changes to
tether.
Oh, yay! This game. That tiny connection, that tiny little spark that connects you to Caradon, turns that into not just a strong success, but a strong hit, but it's over a double, so it becomes twice as good as a strong hit.
So in wandering, and there's a moment of panic as I realize that I'm lost, and that this isn't the same, and the barrier just sort of gave way and it isn't there, and I can't find it to follow it back. And there's a moment of just absolute panic and just, heart beating and hard to breathe. And it's like, but then there's a little glimmer. There's a little glimmer off there. And it's like, oh, Yes, and that little glimmer has a little thin silver thread that comes to me, and it's like I can follow that back. I can follow that back. I can follow that back, and I'm kind of in a panic, just sort of gripping very hard onto this thread as I'm following it back, and I follow it back, and I come and I can see Caradwin and Gear sitting watch, and I can see where we bedded down, and I can see where I'm lying, and I can see, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And just, my vision is almost dominated by a crow's face just looking at me. I feel strangely small, but okay. I can do, yes, I can do this. I can do this. And Mala manages to sink back down into her body.
Ow. Does she see the hug? With a double success.
I would think so. And where I'm working in shadow, I'm walking in shadow. I saw a hug, but I didn't see the skeleton. I saw
the spirit.
The man.
Thank you.
Can I make it a little more complicated?
Go for it.
So
I love complication.
Seeing this figure, this snapshot of this small girl holding this man, and this man just kind of just slightly bent over at the waist, his arms also around her. Behind him, almost as if he is the door locking it away, is this huge cascade of shadow. It just
that's scary.
Down into this point at his back, but stops with him as the threshold.
And Bill slept through all of it.
Now, when you sink into your body, do you wake up or are you just asleep?
That's a really good question.
You can ask the oracle.
That's what I was thinking. How likely is it?
I would say that's
the body's
50-50.
asleep and the mind is awake, so that's assuming that's a real duality.
I wake up.
Yep.
Oh.
So not just in spirit form, but physically you see that. Oh, what does she see when she wakes up? Does it change? Or is it still the man? Or is it bones
Actually, it
now?
Does no. So I wake up and I look around and it's like, okay, there's Caradwin and Gear, and there's the girl. Except now she's hugging bones instead of a man. And I'm just too shaken, and it's just, there's just a shriek of fright, and as I'm sort of scrambling and trying to back away.
Caradwin will turn.
So, Gear is instantly let go of Caradwin, moved over, pinned Amala to the ground, and has one leg on either side of her, crouched down over the top of her, like an animal defending something.
Mm-hmm.
With his lips are pulled back, bearing his canines as he's just inches from the ground in the direction of this creature.
Caradwin?
And it's like,
Caradwin she instinctively reaches for a weapon that she doesn't have because they're behind the skeleton in the hut. But
we're so screwed.
So she'll turn and look, and Gear has Amala protected, not calmed down.
Did you expect anything less?
No.
Or more, I guess, in this case?
She would have been surprised if it had happened. But so she'll turn back to look at the embrace with the skeleton and Mira. And Mira turned when she heard it, because obviously.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was a full terrified and then scrambling back, to try and escape, full flight mode.
Yep.
And so, well, I imagine Shenda would be present, would have heard it at least.
Oh, at the very least, yeah.
At the very least. So what would this?
Is the magic broken by the scream?
That's one option. Do the bones just fall to the ground or disappear or draw back into the hut?
I wouldn't think so, since
because I wasn't interacting with
No. No, okay.
But
no.
if you disturb the headman who's kind of channeling this thing.
If he's channeling it.
Let's find out. Because I'll do my part's easy. Bill doesn't even look. He hears the shriek. He's out of the lean-to, crawling towards the forest, full speed. Doesn't even look back to see what's going on.
All you see are ass and elbows.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So what would we?
So
either my thought process was what are the chances of it? Either A, the bones just falling, dissipating magic, or it becoming violent.
Oh no.
So
there's a lot of shadow around.
We'll do a 3-way oracle, 33% chance each. The lowest,
or
it becomes violent. The middle, it just ceases to be and collapses. And the top,
it's unaffected.
Nothing happens. The channel remains. And
or we can just roll an action oracle.
That too. I don't know what an action.
That gives it. There's 100 options to tell you what it's going to do.
I originally didn't want to start this fight because we don't have our weapons on us, but it escalates.
Oh no!
But no, it doesn't have to, because when a Mo is, it's like coming out of a nightmare, and so Gears there's like, it's okay, it's the deep gasping breath. It's okay. It is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing over there?
And yeah, Gear's not answering. He is literally like when you're laying on the ground, you're like uncomfortably close to his legs because he's like crouched over you.
Yeah.
Like frozen.
But I'm just shedding fear pheromones.
Oh,
and all.
Yeah, I just want to get the timing right. So it escalated. So it turned and sort of bristled. That makes sense. It's protecting its child, right? And then Amala gets control of herself with Gear crouched over her.
But yeah, Gear's not making a move. This is more of a. This is an absolutely defensive posture.
Yeah. Okay. That's important. Yeah.
Yeah, Caradwin would have.
Oh, I got it.
What?
Go ahead, you first.
No, I was just saying that she would have moved as if to grab something, realized, oh yeah, I don't have it, but still gone on kind of like a defensive of, well, I guess this is happening.
Yeah.
If either to run, to grab Amala and run, or to fight it somehow.
But you're not acting aggressively. You're not going to close the distance or anything. Okay.
So we're paying attention to the skeleton right now.
Yep.
What we don't notice is as it's turned towards us, the arm has come out and pushed Mirabelle behind it in a protective motion, interposing itself between us, the threat, and whatever it's protecting. So what are the chances that this skeleton, this spirit of a man, who's constantly in the protector role, serving as the doorway to all this darkness, recognizes the same patriarchal protection that's happening with Gear and Amala right now?
I would think it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That would be instinct, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know if that needs.
Also, because Gear and the spirit, recognize this in each other.
I think this is one of those moments, like the light goes off in the middle of the night, and everybody just goes, "Oh."
Yeah, everybody's on the defensive, and then
nobody's
they realize that
being aggressive here.
Everybody's in the same position,
and then a breath.
They're just trying to protect somebody.
Yeah, and another one.
So it escalates to that real peak, and then just slowly.
And he just ever so gently starts to back into the hut, into the shadows. The little girl disappears first. Sorry, the young lady disappears first. And then his arm and his shoulder and his chest. And the last thing that disappears is his skeletal face. Back into the hut.
For a good, 10 or 15 seconds, Gear does not move.
Yep. And I would suggest, at least as far as Gear is concerned, he can still almost kind of nearly see the skull looking back out at him.
There's
it back just into the darkness, and it's still watching you.
Danger.
Yeah.
What about
and
the
then
shadow threshold?
Go on. Sorry.
That's only
now you can't see that anymore.
I can't see that, but what does Gear see?
Oh, he doesn't know.
Only Amala saw that.
Totally out of his wheelhouse.
And I'm not in the shadow anymore, so I don't see that anymore. And now Amala's really confused about what's dream and what's not dream.
Yeah, he was originally in that observer role, and then Amala became in trouble, and then it was like, it happened. It was, yeah.
Caradwin will move slowly, cautiously over to Amala's side. Amala.
I am going to... You may or may not see feet scuttering around on the others. Probably not. After what you just saw, you probably unlikely you saw the cockroach sneaking around. But he did, so I get... he gets to secure an advantage. I did this wrong when I stole the horse, so I want to do it right this time. He allows me to secure advantage. That is...
Oh, damn.
Okay, so that's... Wow. I'll just take +2 instead of +1. That makes it easier. Or maybe... No, I'll just do that as 2 successes. So I'll add +1 to the move that I'm about to take and take +2 momentum instead of +1. I'll make it all very mechanical.
I like how we were just teetering back and forth. Are we going to fight this skeleton?
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
It's an enemy. No, it's a good guy. No, it's an enemy. No, it's a good guy.
So that gives me +1, plus I get +1 for feet, so that is +2. And I use Infiltrator, which gives me +1, so that is +3 and another momentum.
Bill learned his name.
This is my boy doing his thing. He has one thing
Bill,
well.
The aptly named Sneak Thief.
And he comes, at that point, he comes out of... Well, let me do the roll. What am I doing here? Absolutely face danger. There's no question this is a face danger. Using his shadow with +3. Now, this cannot go... One of the things I did wrong is this cannot exceed 10. So I rolled an 11 and went, ooh, I rolled an 11. You can't. It maxes at 10. But still. Strong hit. So that is a good thing I said that, because that's a 10, but that is still a strong hit.
Yep.
I get +1 momentum.
Maxing out that momentum track.
Well, this makes perfect sense because Gear,
we're gonna need it though.
Gear, you are looking out. That takes my momentum to 9. Gear, you are looking at that. You're into the darkness where that skeleton was, and Bill walks out with all our stuff.
Ooh.
What I did is I sent feet in to secure an advantage. I did it, so I get the +1. I then used my infiltrator to get another +1 to sneak into this place, and then I got the extra one because of the extra success. So I faced danger to break into the headman's hut and get our stuff.
Damn.
And I'm imagining that Gear is the only one that saw this because Caradwin instantly went to check on Amala to see
Yeah, so like I said, you watch the skeleton face go in, and you're thinking, he's coming back, he's coming back, he's coming back. No, wait, what the fuck? It's that old man, and he's got all our shit.
Yeah.
And you're still crouched over Amala, who no longer needs your protection.
Gear goes from the full, ears flattened, teeth bared, to What?
Hold up, then it's all right, it's all right.
Bill?
You all look like you seen a ghost. Clank, all our stuff lands, all the weapons and everything land on the pile in front of you.
We didn't have to fight that thing barehanded. That would have been pretty dangerous.
But you didn't see that?
Oh, I didn't look, miss. If you don't look, you don't get scared. Oh, I leapt into action, I did. I'm right proud of me.
I'm impressed.
Mala, are you all right? What happened?
I
mean, I know what you
think
saw.
I think I had a nightmare. I think it was just a nightmare. I'm okay. I'll shake it.
You saw it too.
I don't know what I saw. Whatever I saw got tangled in with my dreams, and it was I don't know what I saw.
Did you see the skeletal man?
Well, I saw a man.
The bones.
Gear and
Well, I saw a man with,
Gear and I
bore a resemblance to. I mean, he looked sort of like Mira. I assume he was like her father.
We saw him, I guess, walk out of the headman's hut. He was not alive. Something strange is happening here. And I don't know whether it's a problem or not.
At least I think it's contained. As the whole circle is warded.
And Carradine will look over towards the hut. Is the headman's wife glaring at us?
I play Shinda, right?
Yes, yep. You do.
I don't think she would be. She's not really. Well, maybe she would be because she's very protective.
Very protective.
Yeah, maybe as you glance over, you just catch a flash of whipping black hair as her head retreats back into the tent. She was clearly watching, but as you turned, she vanished.
Either way, I think this might not be something we should intervene in. I have a feeling they wouldn't take too kindly to us snooping around.
You three would know this, but Gear wouldn't. But Shenda specifically said the spirits don't like noise. And a blood-curdling shriek from a scared Amala probably would not make the spirit too happy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Shocked him. Chased him away, made it impossible for him to be here, something along those lines. We wouldn't know, but it's all good ideas.
He's the door holding back the shadow.
Yeah, he has to stay here, yeah.
And you just offended him or did damage to him, and now the shadow's going to leak through, we're all going to die!
This is session 5, Austin. We can't do that.
We've already got an Iron Revenant.
You guys need to make some kind of harness for me because I'm clearly not under control.
Gotta stick off
harness,
the baby Bjorn.
That's, yeah. See, I was thinking taser, but Just put a taser in his chair.
Fuck down.
Yeah, something that's only effective for 20 minutes. So you just get those 20-minute increments of just chaos.
Oh no, this is a perfect blend. So, yeah. So with that, Bill says, "Oh, look at that! It's almost morning. Look, we might as well pack up and go, us."
Yeah, Gear sits up. He's right. I think we've worn out our welcome.
Welcome back, Faded. You missed some stuff.
The danger. You missed the danger.
Just
Yeah, and Bill's doing everything he can to get us like packed up and moving. He wants out.
Caradon will.
Okay.
Amala?
I'm okay, Caradon. I am so glad you were here.
What happened?
I think I went wandering in my dreams. But it's okay. I'm awake now, and it's okay. I'm okay.
Then we should probably get ready to leave.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk a little, clear my head too.
Okay.
Blow the cobwebs out. It's so
Gear.
dark.
Gear will help Amala to her feet. And he will say, "You must not be so scared so readily. You must remember, everything you see in the dark is also reflected in light. That is the nature of the balance. Be careful. Don't be scared."
Caradon will whack him on the back of the head. You could be kinder about it.
Shame and Amala, I promised you a lesson in shadowing, and by the sounds of it, I should have done it yesterday. So when the sun comes up today, and it gets nice and bright out, well, you and me, we're going to find a shadow or two, and I am going to teach you how they're not always bad. Right?
It wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't. It wasn't like last time. It wasn't.
Was there any point where you weren't in control?
Well, yes. Point taken.
Then we leave before daybreak. Back, let's go.
It is.
Who knew this was so close to your home? Whew. Not half a day's ride away from Kinheim.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
Gear
You're
is,
right.
Gear
right.
is just...
Right, let's go.
We're going.
Caradon will grab Rom and...
As we get to the edge, like, we didn't thank them for their hospitality.
Thank you very much. Very good to see you folks. Bye.
And Gear is no longer holding his fletchings. They've somehow found their way into Caradon's pack. Weird how that happens. At least Caradon's useful. She's carrying around his stuff, so...
Oh, that must be it, yes.
He doesn't have any pockets, so...
Yeah, he just kind of pawns it off on people.
So what, if anything, do you do when you find them? I'm assuming like the next morning we're getting, or as we're walking away, we're snacking on whatever rations we've got or whatever. At some point during the day, we'll take off another supply, but...
And so Caradon will notice them. Notice they're the ones that Gear had been working on.
Mm-hmm.
Look at him and notice he's trying to
ignore.
Make sure ignore / move people along, so he's not really paying attention to her at the moment. And she'll just smile a little bit and not say anything.
Mm-hmm.
She knows.
Yeah.
He knows she knows.
Yep.
She knows. He knows.
He knows.
She knows.
She knows. Yeah. Yep.
And that's all that needs to be done.
And so the escalation continues. We can't apparently see Karis, but I think she's there. All we can see is that magnificent background image. All art provided from the manual.
I think she stepped away for just a moment.
I thought I saw her come back. But anyway, either way, with or without.
I would say we need to roll another Undertake journey.
Yep, absolutely. The next step of the journey. Let's see what happens here.
And that's me again.
Yep.
I just want to point out that the quote was, "Oh yes, perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. A weak hit." That doesn't always happen. And 2, that whole darkness escapade.
Yep.
Kevin started. He simply lit the fuse and just shoved me in the direction. So, all of that chaos. Kevin said something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, those bones would come to life and kill all of them if they didn't do this ritual." Something like that. I was like, "Oh no."
Oh.
So
well.
I actually I'm going to burn the momentum because one of my assets is Wayfinder.
Okay.
Which means that when I undertake a journey and burn momentum to improve my roll, envision how you reorient yourself, and take 2 momentum after you reset.
Okay.
So that will turn that into a weak hit.
Yep, a weak hit.
Yep. And then you get the 2 momentum and explain to us how this happened. And on the weak hit, we get the waypoint and mark of progress, but suffer -1 supply. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
easy enough.
After that rough afternoon and evening and night, and just after experiencing that circle and having to do a few takebacks just to make sure that we didn't imagine it all, like that we didn't turn around and the circle's gone.
We also didn't get a full night's sleep, so we're probably kind of groggy.
Yeah.
And so, as we're turning around and as we're not turning around, but as we're trying to move forward, we kind of go off on the wrong direction, and we're walking and it seems fine, but Carradine notices something off. Like, wait, this feels wrong. And how we lose the 1 supply is, I imagine that she probably, goes to the water source somewhere and checks it and just kind of does a few tests to test direction, because she knows relatively where they were in Kinheim.
Yeah.
And where south was from Kinheim. And so she'd know if they were near, this river and it was going a certain direction, then either they were going east or west or north or south.
Yep.
And so she just takes some time. She kind of stops them all and stuff, and uses some of their supply to to just reorient and be like, okay, wait a minute. We need to go this way instead. We're going the wrong way. We got turned around.
So yeah, it takes us a little while, and in the process we've had sort of a meal and had to go back and sort of retrace our steps, and it's put us a step out. I don't know if the 2 of you saw the message in chat, so okay, we'll just continue on. Yeah. So Amala moves into follower mode, where she just kind of comes with us.
She's still kind of groggy from last night.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, with that, you burn your momentum and you get extra.
I get +2 momentum.
Yeah, so you burn 1, get 2 back. Yeah. And with that, we
6.
continue. Yeah. And so put 1 more check onto the trip.
So that's 2. What have we
2
got?
out of 10.
2 out of 10.
Yeah, that's 2 out of 10.
And so we hit our next milestone, which
does it have to be? It doesn't have to be a city. It can be.
No, it's just a it's just a marker of some kind. I just assumed, circle was a good start.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's sort of that part of the day is there and back again, basically. Like, oh shit, we went the wrong way. That makes sense. We were in such a hurry to get out. We left before dawn. We didn't see the sunrise. We got off on the wrong foot. So that is our second one. So that was quick. Look at that. Nothing happened. No demons. No evil.
Should we gather some information? Add some complications?
I mean, there is a location oracle.
We can do that. Absolutely, yeah. Roll that. See where we ended up. A hill.
A hill.
We are on a hill. The game is telling us to move on. We find ourselves on a hill and get a nice look around. We go, yes, you're right. We should be going this way.
Yeah. This can't just be a hill. We walk by this hill and there's this grassy rolling green hill. It's like almost a textbook. And as we walk by it, there's this long kind of looping path that goes around it, and there's just this stack of stone on top of it, clearly denoting some kind of grave. And so it's really quiet. This whole journey around the hill is just out of respect.
Yep. Yeah, especially after what we've seen some of the dead do in the last 24 hours. Respecting the occasional sharp glance to make sure nothing's moving.
Yeah. Danger.
Yep. In this world, man, everything is dangerous, right? Everything's an omen. Everything is dangerous.
A supernatural extravaganza.
Yeah. So
I love it.
I guess we've got a long ways to go, but
ways to go, especially with a difficult, formidable journey.
Because each one of these is only getting us a couple of ticks, right? So.
Have we crossed the border yet? Do you think?
I don't think so. It's going to take us. I figured this is a level 3 out of 5 difficulty journey, right? Isn't it a formidable?
Yeah, I think it'll make it. We'll have to be halfway before we make it across.
Yeah.
Are we heading straight over, or are we heading into a certain direction? Or are we just gonna make it up as we go?
We're heading, I believe, southwest.
It was south. Yeah, southwest works. There you go. It is now southwest. Canon. I wrote it down. It's in ink.
It happens.
You heard it. No takesy backsies.
That's right.
And I guess we'll eventually want to rest because we're moving on foot, which makes it even harder, I think, in this world. So we'll probably have to take a rest, and then when we do, Caradwin and or Gear would go resupply probably.
Yep.
Now Gear is very, very used to walking all day and all night because he's from a nomadic tribe, so he would probably volunteer to go hunting.
Yeah.
Would Caradwin's ego allow him to go alone?
Oh, he can go.
Oh.
She's not the one with the big ego. It's all him.
All right.
Buddy.
So I guess the only question is, are we going to do another roll after the hill, or are we going to call that the end of the day? Do we do one roll per day as a limit?
That would make the most sense, because then we're starting.
That gives you a minimum amount of time to travel too, right? If you could only do
we would
one
only
a day,
travel a certain amount of time.
It's going to take us 21 days to get there, right? Yeah.
In my mind, we would reorient ourselves and start moving again. So I would imagine it's one per day.
Oh yeah. So I'll do some resupply.
Like I said, that gives you a minimum time that it would take to get there too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Okay, we have a new rule.
Ooh.
One undertake journey per day.
As I go out into the forest here.
It's probably already a rule, but
I'm gonna resupply and I'm gonna gather some information. I want to see what the wildlife is here as we're getting away from Kinheim, and see
Well, I'm going to assume we get past this hill. We're not camping anywhere near this hill.
Oh,
right?
no,
We walk until we are
No.
out of the pall of death, and then decide to set up a camp and go. Yeah, so
here's our
let's make it
resupply.
easy. Amala and Guy stay in camp to set up.
Bill.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
Yeah.
You said Guy.
I did again. Fuck.
So resupply.
Son of a bitch shit.
We'll get 1 supply back for 1 momentum. So I'll burn that momentum. So we're at full supply.
Okay.
And then I am going to gather some information about these woods with the... Actually, I will tell the story after I find out what I get here. So I get +2 to this because we're still in the woods. Trees are good.
Pretty much always be in the woods.
Until we get to the mountains.
Yeah.
So
that's a weak hit.
The information complicates. So Gear goes into these trees to gather supplies and also get a feel for the wildlife. Specifically, what he's looking for is balance, the natural flow of things, because that, in his belief, means that this area is intact spiritually.
Yep.
Whatever forest spirit is in charge of this area is doing its job to keep the balance. And so he finds that, with a caveat, for some reason, this area that we're in is very supernatural. And so during his hunt, and the reason he wasn't able to fully resupply all our stuff, the reason he got that weak hit is because a lot of his senses are distracted by flitting shadows or things that are not natural, things his senses aren't attuned to. So he is totally off his game.
Fair enough, yeah.
But manages to bring back a sickly looking small deer.
Yeah.
That is
so that takes us to 4 supply, right?
I think we should be at
1.
5.
We're at 5 now.
We're at 5 now? Okay, I thought we were at 3.
Because he resupplied back
right
at Lone Home. And while Gear is gone and we're kind of just, resting and kind of taking it easy, I guess. Caradwin will she'll send her horse off kind of to kind of exercise him out, just let him run around. And she doesn't keep him tied to anything or anything like that, just lets him kind of run with the trust that he stays close. Just to make sure that he doesn't get too antsy because the 4 horses. She expected to do the journey alone, and she's not, and so.
And I'm just going to drop in a placeholder, like a permission to retcon later. I promised to do the scene with Amala where I was going to teach her about shadows, and I will do that. Obviously, that would be a better thing to do when she's actually here. So I will insert placeholder scene marker here and do that one when she gets back. And with that, I guess, we... the second day, the first day with no real major events other than walking past a creepy Death Hill, comes to an end.
See how that turned a one noun into a story?
Yep.
The creepy Death Hill. It's not just a hill. This is a creepy Death Hill.
And so then we'd probably make camp.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, where is that? I always lose my place with these. Make camp. Here it is.
So roll plus supply. So +5, or you can just roll supply. Yeah.
Or am I doing it?
You go ahead. This is your story. You roll all these bits. You'll get bored, and then it'll be Gear's turn and on his mission. And well, there's a weak hit, so you get one of everybody gets one thing.
I'm gonna take the prepare.
I was just going to say, yeah,
Caradwen.
that makes sense for the person whose journey it is, and that's kind of interesting because it gives you that on the journey, but no other benefit, right? So you don't get to heal or anything else. So that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah, Gear doesn't do any hunting tonight.
What am
He
I
just
gonna do?
relaxes.
Yeah.
He relaxes and recharges his spirit.
Yeah, well, Caradwen is used to these kinds of, not doing it in a group, but used to, that's her path is Wayfinder. She's used to kind of wandering and hunting and doing that kind of stuff. So she's just, kind of planning and kind of testing how things are going.
And then, yeah, after his conversation with Amala, he's feeling really good about himself. So I'm just going to do the focus and take 1 momentum. Phil is now sitting at 10 momentum.
We're going to need it.
I can make something almost. There is only a 10% chance of a weak hit and a 1% chance of a miss now on one activity that I choose. Which he's going to need because he's got nothing else going for him. Absolutely nothing. So, why don't we end on a potential series of complications? Why don't we allow Amala sleeps through the night and the 3 of us gather information? Oh, she's back.
She's back.
Yay, she's back.
I'm alive.
You're good.
I'm alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're all good to go? If you go pale, we'll let you know.
Yeah, no.
You're all good?
I'll be okay.
Okay.
Oh, you've gone pale.
That's the lighting.
See, folks, he's an asshole even when he's not being geared. That's
so
I don't
Bill
know
and
if you
Amala
can tell
can
or
do
not.
their
I'm pretty
scene.
pale.
Oh yeah, I blend in with my wall.
Same.
But
so
him teaching you about shadows.
Yeah, let's do that. So partway through this day, good time. Yeah, I like this. We were walking along, and there was this grass-covered hill off to one side. And as we almost walked past it, Gear pointed out that on top of it, that there was a road that kind of wrapped around it, and on top of it there was a pile of stones like it was a grave. And it made us, after the experiences of the previous day, very somber, and we continued on a little further. And then the sun sort of breaks through the clouds, and Bill turns to you and he says, "You join me here in the bushes for a minute, Miss Amala. Nothing rude, miss. Just, it's your time for your lesson."
Okay. Visibly apprehensive, but...
Yep. And I lead you just off the trail into the trees a little bit. And you don't have to go very far. These trees are really short and stunted in this area still, because we're still in your home territory. And I look around for a second and I find some place where there's some deadfall, like a couple of trees down together, sort of forming a little sheltered area. "Come under here, miss. Come under here." And get crouched down. And even in the brightness of day, you only have to go in a little bit before it's almost completely black. And you can tell that no one could see you in here from outside.
And I have no light, so I'm very nervous.
Mm-hmm. I know it. First it's not comfortable and it's all scary like. But right now, you're in this shadow. It's the safest place in this whole forest. 'Cause no one can see us, miss. Sometimes shadows are safety.
Why is it safe to not be seen?
Well, they can't hurt you if they can't see you, miss.
But who hurts you?
It's not the shadows you have to be afraid of, miss. It's the things what move around in it. Some of them aren't very nice. But some of them, like you and me, are right proper people. You just gotta avoid the shitty ones, miss, just like real life. It's no different in here, only you don't see so good.
How do you know this shadow is safe?
Because I'm in it. And I don't go in unsafe shadows, miss. That'd be right foolish. And miss, I got a feeling that most of the shadows you're in, you're probably the most dangerous thing in them.
How is shadow so strong when even just a spark of light can dispel it?
Well, that's part of it, isn't it? Unless that light's there. It's everywhere, miss. And the light can never be everywhere. You're in a right interesting position. You need the shadow, miss. But you can make it go away any time you like. So you got nothing to fear at all. Do your thing, miss. Show me.
I can't do light right now.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I didn't know. It was supposed to be like the big payoff today. Oh, think we should go back, miss, to the others.
And some of the underbrush right next to us rustles. And it sort of rustles again. And Amala takes a deep breath and relaxes.
Is that your friend in here with us? Well,
She's going to tell me off because I didn't talk to her this morning.
Well, I'll leave you to it then. Like I said, sometimes the things in shadows are dangerous, miss. Right, I'll be out here. And I leave you and Strongcaw in the shadows to have your conversation. How does that go?
Love it. Do we only see the aftermath of it?
That's absolutely a possibility.
Or does Amala come out of the woods with like this crow going? Wah, wah, wah.
Like the parents from Charlie Brown.
No, yeah, she could. As Bill walks out, she sort of comes in and takes his place, and she's just looking at Amala. And Amala's got sort of a cheeky little smile around the corners as she looks back. And after sitting there for probably a couple of minutes, they both kind of just nod and turn, and she walks out.
Yep, absolutely. Crow approves. And then we kind of did this part already, Karis. We went through the rest of the day and we took our sojourn. So we are back up to 5 supply. You can change that on your sheet.
Oh, is it evening?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's time. Yeah.
We made
camp. I can do my light. I can do light again and get back into
before the
sync
sun
with
gets
myself.
down. In fact, you can do
Carolyn
both if you
camp.
want. You do whatever you like.
Camp and you can choose one of the benefits because it was a weak hit.
Yep.
So okay.
So one spirit.
One of the benefits.
It's,
I'm going to take the one spirit.
Yep.
That'll bring me back up on spirit.
One more. Oh, mate, that makes sense. After that experience, that you would feel better.
Yeah, that's like okay. My world's coming back into sync a little bit. I think. Let's see. Bless wits on the light. Bringing in, it's like, okay, I know what it feels like now to have spent 24 hours with no light.
Yep.
And have stepped in the shadows. Okay, does the lesson continue, or am I back? Oh, the lesson continues.
Wow. You don't have enough. No, you don't. I would have asked.
Man.
Still, you must walk in the darkness.
For the
But you get a failure.
For the second night. This time, you did it before the sun went down even, right? You did it the traditional way. Because maybe that first night didn't work because it was the fire. But tonight you did everything right. And it still didn't work.
So I reach out with my spirit and call, bring in the crows.
Yep.
It's like, okay, tell me what to make of this. Tell me what to make of this. Oh, ask a single question. What do I make of this?
Okay. That's a weak hit.
They tell you about something else, if I remember correctly.
Yep,
they
the crows
refuse to answer your question.
Offer a clue to an unrelated problem or opportunity in this area.
Oh, Amala!
Again,
Holy shit! What a night!
Have you had a strong hit with the crows since we started?
I don't think so.
That's just pure
once.
crow. Yeah. Oh yeah, at least once. Yeah.
But they do tend to tell me that I'm missing the
There's other things going on over here to worry about.
That works too. I mean, if you, instead of answering your question, they just give you shit.
Well, and so I ask, what do I make of this?
A message from Winna.
And this is just, and they just, that's the silliest question they've ever heard. It's completely beside the point. It completely misses everything and all that. But this is actually normal crow. So I do take some comfort in that, and I take my one momentum.
Yep. At least they're still talking to you, right?
They're still talking to me. This is normal. The lesson's going to continue it, but I'm going to have to figure out for myself what it means. Oh boy.
They're not helping you with this one.
And then we had agreed we were going to do a round of gather information as we stood watch overnight. But I think that's probably where we should start next week. Because we've been going very close to 3 hours now. It was a day and a half this time we got done. We almost started a war in a village.
That is a strong word.
That's a strong word. Yeah.
A brawl.
A brawl. Okay. There weren't enough people for a war, and there were no uniforms. I'll give you that. It was a brawl that almost happened. And then we managed to get a ways down the road in the wrong direction before getting turned around. And once we got turned around, we walked past a spooky death hill, had a couple moments, and wow, I know who I want to start with tonight. We're going to get to what else you do, but before we do that, Karis, holy cow. Where is Amala's head right now?
Amala is operating on resolve. I'm gonna make this work. I don't know how, but I have faith that I can. I earned that iron. I have faith that it will come together. There were challenging times under Reno when I didn't understand what was going on. It's very much under resolve.
That's magnificent. And when you're not biting your top lip so hard it disappears completely, what do you do the rest of the week, Karis?
Oh, Lordy, what do I do? Well, let's see. I plague some people who are trying to make their way through a world that I've created. Mm-hmm. And I plague some other people who are dragging me through their world. And then I plague some other people who are dragging me through their world. I'm a plaggy sort of person. No, I spend way too much time playing Dungeons and Dragons. Oh. And when I have a little bit of time around that, I play Minecraft with some very lovely people. Yeah, and then I do recording. I sometimes record that and put it up on YouTube. So
links to all of said things that are provided for the public are listed over in the chat. Thank you so much. That was a magnificent night, and I love this system because character development all over the place.
We're just oozing.
It's just running everywhere. And it looks like he's about to fall asleep, so we should probably get to him before he falls out of his chair.
I'm not. I'm reading all my notes.
Reading his notes already. So yes, Gear, played by Austin. Where's his head at?
Oh my. Gear's head is in a totally different place than Austin's right now, but
yeah,
I had 2 huge exams this morning, so I'm kind of.
But the real world is starting to creep back in on you.
Yeah, I've been going since 7 a.m. and I'm like, ugh. But I have resigned myself to teach Amala the ways of actual balance. And so Gear is watching and dropping little hints and this and this and that, and he's gonna have to show her what true balance is and show her the ways of the trees and how nature sustains itself, right? So she's going to get the teachings of shadow, the teachings of balance, and whatever Caradwin has planned.
So probably heart. I mean,
yeah.
In all honesty.
And so it should be pretty interesting. Yeah, that scene in the circle was amazing. That was fantastic. But yes, when I'm not doing this, I am doing research at school, trying to get decent grades, trying to finish up so I can move on to bigger and better things. But I play a lot of D&D, a little bit of Ironsworn. It's what keeps me centered.
I hear that, man. I hear that. And that leaves the next person, the Caradwin. Robin.
Yes.
Where is... I'm going to start doing this every time. Where is Caradwin's head right now?
She's torn because what they experienced in Lone Home was something unlike anything she's ever experienced. And she's never seen anything like that that's supernatural, and she's not sure what to think on it. And she saw how it kind of affected Amala, and she's not sure how to help if she can. But Amala said she helped in some way. She's not 100% certain she understands, but that's kind of a light point. And she's also seeing all these things and kind of what the understanding she's had with, the Iron Revenant that came up last session, and just everything that's kind of happened in these last couple of days. She's growing increasingly more and more worried about what happened to Kadal.
Yeah, the reason she's actually here, right? And when you're not worrying about your fictitious brother on Thursday nights, I know your real brother was watching tonight, so we're coming, buddy.
He's here.
Yeah, we're coming. About 40 more weeks, we'll be there.
Maybe. When I'm not doing this, I have another D&D game I play with Austin and Kevin that's not aired anywhere, but it's very fun. It's where I met them about a year ago.
Yep.
We started, and other than that, I do art. I drew the art for the Mercs of Mischief's Deadlands campaign that Kevin runs
Yep.
On Tuesdays, and so I did all that. And I also kind of have become the lore librarian for our wiki, which is great. I have much too much time on my hands, and so we've got all kinds of fun information on characters and NPCs, and it's updated weekly with as each one goes all right.
So when Kevin prods me into just running off on a tangent story, Robin's the one that sits there and just documents the entire thing.
Takes it all down.
Or I rewatch it during the week and transcribe
copious
important
notes.
Conversation.
Yeah.
You go, why did we let that guy do that?
Yeah.
I'm used to it by now.
He's gonna kill a little girl. He killed a bunch of fox kits last week. What's going on, man? I love it.
Yeah, that's what I do.
We can't hear you, Cars.
Oh.
And you spoke up about your art this week. You didn't have to be prompted by Kevin.
Yes. Yeah, so I guess I got to ask myself the same question Bill's had. I think Bill at this point is still trying to figure out how he fits in. Because the rest of you all have these amazing skills and all he does is steal shit. So even though he pulled that stunt where he stole from the headman's hut and got all of our stuff back, he doesn't see that as anything special at all. That's just what he does.
All of us were like jaw dropped at that point. We finally found where Bill keeps his iron.
Yep. Yeah, it's in his codpiece a little bit. Yeah, so
walking right past that skeleton.
But it's not his. Yeah, he was in the shadows, and in the shadows he's safe. So in my head, that shadow, that little girl or the young lady backed in, and that creature backed in. He just went, "You don't see me," and he just walked right by and right out like this. He has no fear in the dark, and that's his home. That's where he's safe. And that's the message he's trying to bring to Amala. For him, another really interesting moment tonight was when she couldn't make light. He did not know that was possible. It was supposed to be, like he said, that was supposed to be the big finish. It's like, no, don't worry, because if you're ever not worried, just go, and it goes away. And then she went, I can't. And he went, shit. Because there's the end of the lesson gone, right? So, but that's where he is right now. So, one thing before I say all the stuff the other stuff I do when I'm not here, I think we might have a name for this series because I think we might all together be making a shaman.
Ooh. How to make your shaman.
So we'll leave some version of that just sitting out there because it seems like everybody's bringing something to Amala, right, to make up for what she's missing from Weena. So I like this idea very much. And with that, I will mention I also do a bunch of other stuff. Over at the Mercs of Mischief, they stream Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I watch the Sunday game. The Monday game, I'm in as Guy Bontemps, the guy I keep falling into in this game. And that's in a D&D homebrew world run by a magnificent dungeon master named Puck, Lord of Chaos. And yes, it's as fun as it sounds. And then on Tuesdays, I drag the whole thing down into the fields with a game of Deadlands. And a bunch of very interesting characters, all of whom are broken in fantastically unique ways, and whom I just keep dragging their open wounds through the iodine and to listen to them scream in agony for your joy and entertainment. And that's my Tuesday nights. And then on Wednesday, I do something very similar to Robin, Austin, and two of my other friends. And on Thursdays, I come back here and the four of us do... well, the new way I've put it is we interact with the Ironsworn rule set because most of the time we follow it. And we use the oracles all the time. They're wonderful and amazing. But sometimes we get creative. but Rule 0 says we're allowed. So
keep using assets I don't have.
Yep, doesn't matter. It all works. It all tells this amazing story, and that's only episode 5. That's less than 15 hours that we're already into this. We are well on our way to our first formidable, or no, not epic or extreme quest. Either way,
we're well on a formidable journey, and we're working on an epic quest.
On an epic quest. So that's happening. We are taking a shaman away from her stability and letting her build herself, mistakes and all. I want to thank very much Robin, Karis, and Austin. I want to thank everybody that watched this live. I want to thank everybody that is watching it on YouTube at any point in the future. It'll be up in about a day and a half. Wow, I'm so lucky. This is so much fun. And with that, I'm going to call it for tonight. Good night, everybody.